Obviously, by the title, you can tell I did not like it.
No shit, Sherlock!
And I'm going to spoil a lot of it to kind of go through why I didn't. And I'm not even going to talk about the main controversies people had going into it. I don't really think it turned out to be that like big of a deal because they were all like hella side characters too. So first big gripe I have, it's super duper slow. So because I honestly had to leave the theater to go take a major crap, and I missed like 15 minutes in the beginning. The girl that I was with, she told me what happened, and it was pretty much nothing. So a lot of it, in my opinion, could have been cut down, possibly a little cut out, because it is pretty much 3 hours long. And you know, with previews, that's basically 3.5, because it never starts when it says. Also, one thing I saw, I'm not a film nerd, so if I don't get the exact terminology right, don't cut my balls off in the comments, but this was filmed on 70mm lens. And to get the proper experience, you know, watch it on 70mm film. There's only 25 movie theaters in the whole United States that has that. So when you watch it in IMAX, like it's an advertisement, it's all meant to be seen in IMAX. That's not true. You're getting kind of Limax instead of IMAX. I just thought that was interesting. But there was just really no big grandiose moment for me. A lot of it was at sea, and a lot of the sea maneuvering and stuff. Like I watched Waterworld a few weeks ago, so I'm kind of spoiled, and it did not live up to like Waterworld's sea time and sea maneuvering and all that. And I didn't really feel like you needed to see it in IMAX, in my opinion. When it finally got to it, most of this was a flashback. One of the major stops they went to after the war was over was to the Cyclops cave. And I kind of felt bad for the Cyclops, but he also did start eating everybody just because they were taking cheese. But my main gripe was it looked like a green screen character from Smiling Friends. Like it literally looked like they just had a bro stand in front of a green screen and do shit. It shouldn't look like, you know, from the iCarly set. And also the choreography for a lot of that stuff, I know it's probably really hard to do. But a lot of the choreography and then decision making from a lot of the just writers really not good in that section, in my opinion. They're trapped in the cave by the Cyclops. Once they get out of the cave, by a little bit longer plan that consisted of stabbing his eye with a long stick thing that they burned the end of. Felt bad for the Cyclops, I'm not gonna lie. And I guess the Cyclops, that was Poseidon's son. I don't really follow that Greek mythology stuff. It's not my religion. And he cursed him. Then after that, they end up to this other island. They all go in, all chill at first. It's a forest. And then they run into this, like, armored up little kid that starts squealing, crying, and then runs away. And then 2 seconds later, these motherfucking massive-ass soldiers pop up. And they kind of just, you know, fuck everybody's day up because they're honestly giants. And then nothing our heroes can do, so they escape. But they take out, like, no joke, like 2/3 of the force. So by this point, they're pretty dwindled down to just one ship. And then they go to the freakiest island of them all, in my opinion, which that by this point, they did a little non-hostile takeover mutiny because they just didn't want to follow Odysseus anymore. It's been going to shit. So they decided to go up to visit the witch's spot. She has all this food. And they just start grubbing pretty much because she makes it for them. And the food pretty much possesses them. And it's just like a fucking weird-ass mukbang, bro. It made me super uncomfortable. And then she starts, like, touching all over them and, like, forming them into some fucking animal. I think she made them into pigs. Made me super uncomfortable. But anyway, also I forgot, at the end, she basically came to a deal with Odysseus. Long story short, she turned everybody back, happy ending. But they just left her to basically possess everybody else who came there because they were not the first one. So I thought that was kind of stupid. You just left a fucking witch serial killer stay alive. That's dumb. This is when, like, I kind of noticed it before, but this whole, like, part of the story, the writing was straight from ChatGPT. If you put the script in there to an AI checker, it'd say 100% in my opinion. I guess they try to be like traditional Greek, but it just didn't work out, in my opinion. For the movie, it kind of goes pretty slow after that. He meets a bunch of dead homies. They kind of tell him a prophecy that all your homies are gonna die on the ship because you're gonna try to keep them. They end up crossing either this whirlpool or to go in between these caves, and then a monster takes, like, I think 6 of them they said, which he knew, and then everybody's kind of pissed off that he knows. End up at this island. Before I forget, there was the siren scene where they strapped Odysseus, put wax in their ears so no one else would hear him. Pretty chill scene. You barely even saw the sirens. You kind of just saw like them in the mist, but pretty much just like their figure, you know. And somebody else got too tempted, so he took out the racks and just that was the last you saw because he jumped overboard. You really didn't see him like turn or do any damage or eat anybody, but not a bad scene. So I forget like the sun god or some shit. Basically, if they eat these cattle, which there's a bunch of them, they will be cursed by the sun god because those are like his cattle. They literally can't leave because there's a massive wind that they can't set sail because they'll just get pushed back into the island. Obviously, because if they're gonna starve to death, you're kind of fucked either way. So they end up eating the cattle. So they go back, see it just goes south, and the whole crew dies, gets split in half. But obviously, Odysseus lands on the island with, I guess she's a witch. Okay, her name's Calypso. Do not beat my ass, please. He ends up drugging bro for 8 years, 7 years, and yeah, and by the time he comes to, like all the suitors of, you know, I didn't really talk about that, but there's a whole bunch of suitors at the crib trying to get Tom Holland's mom, Anne Hathaway. I think that's her name. Isn't she like in the Spider-Man series and then Tobey Maguire shit? But anyway, yeah, and then he, long story short, comes back as a beggar to go and like eye everything out, and then eventually all the suitors are there and he like kills a bunch of them in some like Jason Statham fucking, it's 100v1 basically, but they all take him like one at a time and they all suck, so he just beats them. Not very realistic. I used to be into that shit, but now I'm like, just because playing Mountain Blade and seeing medieval warfare and watching UFC, knowing how real fighting is, it's just stupid, bro. It just kills it. Yeah, it kind of ended after that. Bro got exiled, son became king, and happy ever after. Yeah, I kind of didn't like it. The cinematography and the acting themselves. I didn't like the words they said, but the acting themselves and the cinematography was fire. I thought, other than the Cyclops, a lot of the special effects was fire. There was no real like giant epic moment. Like you could say when they showed like Troy being sacked, that was pretty like epic, I guess you'd say. They loved drums in this though, bro. I'm saying I felt like they put in drums whenever they could. Like Odysseus would just start chewing cereal pretty intensely and then drums would come like there's a battle ahead, but that's all that would happen. But yeah,